Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL Podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly.
Hi, and welcome back to the DCL Podcast, your podcast to cruise a little smarter. And sometimes we're cruising the ocean, and sometimes we're cruising the river. This is Christy. I am your host for today, but I am not alone. Look, I'm borrowing Lake's phrases. I am joined by the Podfather. That's what Lake calls you, isn't it? Steve.
Thanks for having me back. And I love an adventure. So talking about what we're going to talk about tonight always is exciting to me.
Look at you already with the little punny clips.
Yes.
You're starting out strong in 2026. So what we're here to talk about is the Adventures by Disney River Cruise Plus One Mini Escape release that was just released this week. They always release the river cruise itineraries in January, and then the land-based itineraries get released in May. And so, except for escapes that coincide with cruise releases, so that's a different story. But this is great. We just thought we would jump on. We don't have a ton of time today. We don't have a ton to talk about. I mean, you could talk about this for hours, but we don't need to. But we thought we would just give you an overview of some of the offers that they have, the new details, loose details about the new options, and just more information about river cruising.
Yeah, I think when a lot of us start off, go to the parks, and then you get to Disney Cruise Line, and then somehow you find Adventures by Disney as well, which is just a magical component of Disney travel. And when they started partnering with AMA Waterways a couple years ago, I think that was just another great transition that they made for people. Because I think when I first got into cruising, the thought of river cruising was kind of like the older generation doing it, and
exactly
they've really kind of changed that. Working with AMA to make it a family friendly. Now there are some adult only sailings as well, but I think that this is a great way for that family that likes to get out and explore, to adventure, to be on just a little bit smaller ship where you pull up right downtown and get to experience so many different magical places. And I know that you and your family have done it, Christy, but I'm excited every year when they come out with these sailings just to see what they have to offer. And I'm glad that it's continuing.
Yeah, me too. And I'm glad we're talking about it. We love Adventures by Disney. Just a quick overview of Adventures by Disney. It is their tour-based product. So you're either doing a land tour where you're going from place to place, sometimes on a bus, sometimes on a plane, where you're seeing different things. They're getting you front of the line access to stuff. Or this river cruise concept, which is smaller ships, as Steve said. There's a max of 156-ish guests. And I think on the ship that goes to the Rhone, it's actually less than that even. But it is 156 guests, so it's teeny tiny. And there's one restaurant, typically like one real restaurant, and then another place you can get food. Mickey Mouse is never, except for being on your paddle, he is never going to be on your excursion. You're not going to have any characters. But the attention to detail cannot be compared. It's like, some people say the thing they love about Disney Cruise Line is just the interaction with the crew and how amazing they are. This is next level to that. You have 6 adventure guides on your river cruise, depending, I guess, the Rhone might be a little bit different because it's smaller. But so you have these adventure guides that are with you the entire time. They know about your destination, and they're going to help you immerse in the place that you are. It's not just like relaxing on the Lido deck with a fruity beverage. You're going into these cities and really getting a feel for it and doing excursions, which are included in your river cruise, that is unique to the river cruise environment.
Yeah, I think when I think about river cruise, or when I think about Adventures by Disney, the parks, you kind of set that out yourself, and you're out there kind of managing that yourself. Disney Cruise Line, takes a little bit of that off, and there's a little bit less planning with a Disney cruise. And Adventures by Disney, kind of like everything is thought of for you. Now, there are some decisions you're going to have to make, or you can make, which is going to enhance your trip the way you want to do it at times. Especially on the river cruises, they give you a lot more options than the land cruises as far as some of the activities you get to do when you stop in each one of the cities. But Adventures by Disney is kind of the trip that if you were looking to just turn your brain off, and not in the way that you want to not learn and all that type of stuff, but turn your brain on and not have to be responsible necessarily for the trip planning. Adventures by Disney takes care of all of that from the time you show up into the city and begin your adventure until the time it ends. And I'll tell this quick story. We were going zip lining in Costa Rica, and Anawik forgot her shoes. She was wearing flip-flops, and it was specifically said that you needed to have closed-toed shoes. And we're like on the bus, and she had made sure the kids had theirs, and then she realized she didn't have hers.
Oh my God.
And Joy, the guide, was like, "Wait a minute, what size are your shoe, or what size are your feet?" And luckily, she had the same size as Anawik, and Joy gave Anawik her shoes, and she got to the zip line. So the guides go above and beyond in just everything that they can do to make your 7 to 8 days with them just as magical as they can be.
Yeah, one of the stories that I like to share is that when we went ice skating, you needed like €1 for the locker. And they had euros for every single person for the lockers. Like they think of every detail. They have figured out in advance that someone's going to need €1, or if it's a bathroom break in a city, they know in advance that that bathroom cost €1, and they just like take care of it. They have it figured out. It's that level of detail that makes it so special.
Yeah, when we were in Peru, when we were leaving Machu Picchu, we got down to the train station. It was just mobbed with people. And the guides said, just sit here, just relax. When they call for our train, don't get up. Everybody's going to get up. And they all mobbed onto the train. It was just mass, I'm going to say mass chaos wasn't that bad, but it was a lot of people getting on the train at once. And they all got on the train, and then we got up, and it was nice and quiet. We walked on, and we already had our seats anyways. And we sat down, and then the train left. And it's just those little things, like you said, those little touches that make the 7 or 8 days that you spend with them, it just flows. It just flows. And once again, if you're looking for a trip where everything is taken care of for you,
and it's immersive.
It's immersive, a lot of history at times, a lot of little aspects of the cultures they're going to bring out that you may or may not be able to get if you're just traveling, with your family through these different countries. Those are all some of the highlights, I think, that make people want to come back and travel with Adventures by Disney over and over again. Well, should we jump into some of the itineraries, Christy?
Yes.
I think we kind of touched on it. I guess, why don't you give a quick overview of like what a river cruise trip is like? What is the day-to-day? What is it kind of like as far as, for somebody that's maybe never done a river cruise, they've only just thought about cruising the ocean?
It is completely different than an ocean cruise, because an ocean cruise, you basically get to do whatever you want. And on a river cruise, they're telling you basically what to do and when to do it. And it's almost all day that they have worked out your schedule for you. So let's even before we go to that really quick, let's just take a minute to talk about pricing. River cruising is a premium product. It is in all of your excursions, and almost all of your expenses are covered on a river cruise. Your meals are covered. They have it all worked out for you. If you are gone during lunch, like you could pay for something on your own. But if you're gone during lunch on an excursion, then they've either given you a coupon or prepaid for you to eat or something like that. Like your experience is covered for the most part for those 7 days you are on your river cruise. And it is very small. So, for example, prior to the river cruise, my family is very much into our own like space, and we like our own table in the dining room and DCL. That doesn't really exist in the river cruise and world. There's just not enough tables for that to happen. And the seating is all one seating. So you show up for dinner at like 6:30 and everybody eats, or whatever the time is. There also is, and I'll go back a tiny bit. You get on board And it's just like this teeny tiny little like welcome desk. And they have it is nothing like an ocean cruise, the onboarding experience. And even leaving, it is just nothing like an ocean cruise. So the first day of the cruise, for example, before they feed you, which was not my favorite feature, it was like forced fun that you had to do where they had people introduce themselves and they did a whole thing and they kind of gave a schedule, and they'll have like, this is what's going to happen tomorrow. And you have to go to these, at least somebody in your party, so that you know what time you have to show up in the morning. So they have these like gatherings that are basically everybody, that is all 156 people of you, to tell you what the next day is going to look like. And then you typically go to dinner. And then after that, there is like an evening something, either because it's Adventures by Disney, they're going to be slightly more family oriented unless it's an adult only cruise, but it may be music or it might be bingo. And in bingo, they have prizes for everybody. And the thing is like the seating in the main room, where the lounge, where you have to go when you're not eating, you can go to the lounge. These are the only two spaces that really exist on a river cruise. And the lounge doesn't have enough like individual seating sections to sit by yourself. So if you really don't like people, unless you're with a large group, you're going to meet other people. So I've talked about this on my episode that I did. We made friends the first day, like apparently, because we all have to share tables, right? Somebody overheard me like asking for like a bottle of wine or something. And then he wanted to sit with us. And then they made friends the next day. And then they brought those friends for dinner. And then I think somebody made friends with one more. And then so by like the second night's dinner, we had a party of 10 that we 11, some whatever the number was. I don't know what it was. It might have been 15. It wasn't 10. It had to be more than that. That we did everything with, like in terms of meals and group activities for the rest of the cruise. And it just like came to be where somebody talked to somebody at some time and then we're all together. So then the morning you have breakfast. Then you could do an excursion all morning, and it's a tour, a history tour. And the thing about these like city tours is they've made it interesting. If you have a short attention span or you're a child, you can still get stuff out of it, and they've made you want to learn about the environment. So then you come back usually onto the ship for lunch, you eat lunch, and then you have another activity in the afternoon. And then typically you come back on board and the river will move. There will be one day at least during your cruise where it'll move during the day a little bit so that you can see it moving down the river. And sometimes it'll move like in between breakfast and dinner. And so then you could do something in the evening in that city. But it's activities that you get to pick. So prior to your cruise, you will get an agenda and you'll have like one of two choices in the morning, one of two choices in the afternoon. Sometimes it's three. And you pick what your family would like to do best. And Disney tries their best to accommodate that. And in very few circumstances is there a limit that they cannot add more people. Like if it's a bike riding excursion, there's only so many bikes, right? Or if it's I can't think of another example, but they only have 30 spots. I mean, they can only let 30 people go, but those are rare. And usually you can adjust it. Even when you get on board, like once they explain the excursions at night at this forced meeting you kind of have to go to, then you can change most of the time into another option. Like we went to Europa on our Rhine cruise, which is a European theme park. You couldn't change if you didn't already have Europa because the bus and the tickets and the things. But like most of the things, like if you wanted to change to go to a Christmas market or to ice skating, they can work it out so that you could go.
And just kind of looking at the itineraries, to be fair, Christy, you and your family have gone on a river cruise. We have not yet. We've just done the land-based adventures and a short escape. But as I was looking at them, some of the ones like with like biking, so just so people know, sometimes they'll run the same thing in the afternoon as they have in the morning. So some people do it in the morning, and then the people that couldn't do it in the morning could do it in the afternoon, or vice versa.
Correct.
And then the other thing too is,
and biking it's really quick. Biking isn't occurring in the winter, so. Well, it could actually. That's a lie. I'm so sorry. There
Yeah.
was one day that there was biking and then it was like sleeting and they had to cancel it. But it's like they will make it work if it can and depending on the itinerary.
Right. Okay.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Christy saying forced fun or forced meeting and everything like that. But you got to remember that this is a group of people, and you got to. And the one thing that they'll say, especially like on the land adventures, is like, there's 30 or 40 of you, and we're all going to this together. And so they want to make sure everybody has that information so that everybody shows up at the right time, because you don't want to be that one family that's always there, showing up late and slowing everybody down. Because sometimes you're kind of on a tight schedule to get some of these things done. But I will say that one of my favorite things, and Anawik's a little bit more, and she'll admit this, a little bit more introverted. She gets talking once she gets to know people, but she's not always ready to make that first step. But one of my favorite things that we've been able to experience on these is just, I think there's a lot of it's kind of like when you go on a Disney cruise. There's a lot of the common denominator that you have on a Disney cruise, at least, is Disney generally. People have some sort of fascination in Disney. And then there's also the component of travel. And I think that with Adventures by Disney, I've really seen that shine as far as there's a huge common denominator of people that are just curious. They want to get out and explore the world. They love traveling. They want to go see a new country. They want to go learn about a new culture. And you quickly find that through the adventures that we've been on, it's kind of fun to sit at a different table with different people and hear what their backgrounds are, hear what their stories are, hear some of the things that they've done, some of the adventures that they've been on, some of the cruises they've been on. And so don't think of it as a scary sort of thing if you're listening to it, thinking about it scary. And I don't think a lot of people are. I think that if you are a traveler, even if you're a little nervous, I think that they do such a good job, the guides do such a good job of including everybody and getting everybody together. I don't know how it works, but it's just magic. And by the end of the trip, it's just, you've got a whole new family of friends.
Well, and it's true. We still have a text thread from my river cruise from 2 years ago. We still get together. I am cruising on an ocean cruise with two of the people. We have dinner with them a couple of times a year. I mean, they are friends for life now, and it's because of this. And it honestly made our experience, it was great. The river cruise is amazing. But I think this friend group, it made it next level. And it really made the trip for all of us. Even for my son, he was 10 at the time, which brings me to a point. But he was 10 and he was still, there were other children he played with at other times. But as part of our little dinner group, there wasn't any other younger kids. And yet they still, because he's traveled and, they were everybody was still welcoming. They liked what he had to say. He liked what they had to say. It's because of this shared love for travel that it just works so much. But back to my point of what I was going to say, the thing that's unique about Adventures by Disney, you can take children on many other river cruise companies. And around the holidays, there are some children. But Adventures by Disney tries to figure out sort of what Walt's original plan was. He wanted a place that kids and adults can go to and enjoy together. And Adventures by Disney has figured out how to do that, how to make these rivers that sometimes are kind of grown up, like a tour of a historical city and building. And they figured out how to find local guides that make it entertaining for kids and even people who don't usually love a history tour. They have found the right mix of the perfect guides to make it work for families as well as adults, where everybody's getting something out of it. It's really unique.
It really is. So should we jump into some of the itineraries, Christy, or is there anything else you want to touch on with about the river cruises?
Nope. I think it's a good time.
All right. Well, there's nothing new necessarily that they've added, but the good thing is there's only one cruise that I could find that they've dropped for 27, but it's just a time of year where they dropped it, and that's the Danube Magical Holidays, which was just a river cruise after Christmas. So it's kind of that same type of holiday season and everything like that. Some of the Christmas markets could possibly be closed, but that was the only one they dropped. But there still is one on the Danube that goes down for the Christmas markets.
Yes. And yeah, there are two Christmas market cruises, one on the Rhine, one on the Danube. The one, you're getting a little bit more, it's like Austria and Germany, and that would be the Danube. And then the Rhine, you're getting more France and Switzerland, and Holland. And so, or the Netherlands rather. And so that like really loosely explains kind of the differences.
No, that's a good talk there. So let's just start with the Danube. Chrissy, you've kind of looked at the Danube. They run cruises mostly through the summer, and then including that Christmas market cruise that they have as well. And then there's also an Oktoberfest one.
Yes, I was going to say, in case you didn't catch that one. Yeah, so Oktoberfest is typically going to be adults only. It is. And it's perfect time of year. They're going to get you to all the great places. And then the Danube in the summer, you should look at the different excursions and see what makes the most sense for your family, because they're going to be slightly different. The Christmas market cruises in both the Rhine and the Danube really does focus on the Christmas markets. You know, so like in the Danube, you still go to Vienna in both, and you get to go, what is that palace called?
Schönbrunn.
Yes. So you get to go there for music as one of your options, or you can do another, there's like a wine tasting or something as another option. You're going to do that in the summer as well. But you can also do it in the winter where everything's all decorated and nice. But then most of the other options, besides maybe the city tour, is going to be a little bit different to accommodate for the Christmas markets. And that's going to be the same for the Rhine.
Right. So with the Danube, it starts off in Budapest, and then it ends up in Wilhelmshaven, which is close to Munich. Go ahead.
But you can go in the opposite direction too.
Correct. You can go the opposite direction as well. And so kind of some of the highlights, thinking about the Danube, and Christy's right, because we're not going to go through each one of these. It's just too hard to do that. It would take forever. But you really take a look at the different ones and look at what itineraries they are, but then also look at the places they stop, because the Danube, you're going to get to go to Hungary, and then you're also going to end up in Munich or vice versa. And in between, you're going to get to stop in Vienna, go to Schönbrunn, see the horses there. You also get, if you're a Sound of Music fan, this is when you're going to be able to see Salzburg. One of the stops is in Monzi, which I didn't even know we did this, but I mean, I didn't plan this, but we stayed at the Schloss, which was like right next door to the church where they filmed the church scene from Sound of Music when they had the wedding and everything like that. And it's just a beautiful little town that's right outside of Salzburg. So a lot of different activities, and those are some of the bigger highlights, along with and it's not just the bigger towns. There's a couple small towns that they stop at as well, and some of those are sometimes those are can be the highlights to people more so than going to Vienna necessarily.
Well, it is, because it's really that small town feel of Europe.
Right. So let's jump on to, you took a look at this one, Christy, I believe. How about the Holland and Belgium? They run a cruise there between Holland and Belgium, and then they also run one in the spring that allows you to see the tulips.
They are running it in 2027 too. I was just trying to confirm that they still were. That particular cruise runs over spring break. And so it's just because of tulip season, and it's also because they want to get families on board. So if your particular spring break isn't either the second week of April, or for 2027, that last week of March into April, you're going to miss the spring break portion of it, but you're going to get for some people spring break, but you're going to get peak tulips. And they go to really cool places. Like, they're going to take you to the Delft museum, the Pottery Museum, where other cruise lines actually charge an extra fee for that excursion and for that stop to get that tour and to be able to decorate your own little tile. Disney includes it. And that's one of the other points to consider. There are other cruise lines, and I think friend of the show, Joe, pointed out that his family did a Christmas market cruise. He could have gone on AMA. It was $1,400 more to go with Disney. But the thing is Disney is gearing it for children, and Disney it's $1,400 per person. That is just to make sure that's clear. But Disney's also including a bunch of things that other cruise lines don't, and is extra. So that's it.
That's a huge point.
Yeah. And so the Tulip Cruise is going to obviously take you to see the tulips in their prime which is amazing. But then you're also going to get to do the other stuff in Belgium and in the Netherlands. And so, and that would be the same if you just did the Holland-Belgium cruise in non-tulip season.
Yeah, I think that's after going through, we stopped in Bruges. Belgium has really piqued my interest. It's the first time I've ever been to Belgium, and that's a country I would love to go back to. So that sounds like that is definitely on our bucket list to do that Holland-Belgium cruise.
And then let's really quick just mention you can also go to the Rhone, which is going to be France mostly, right? And yes. There used to be a Seine river cruise, and they have stopped that one. And so now you're going up that other like branch of the river. And so I don't know as much about this. I do know that the ship is smaller, and that's because their locks they're smaller. They don't have as much room, and I'm pretty sure there's no pool on that ship. And so just something to keep in mind if you're traveling with a family. But the rest of the AMA ships that Disney uses has a little pool in the back. Now, when you're traveling, if you're traveling over the winter, you're not going in that pool, but it's still there.
It's there if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that the Rhone one. It looks, if you're a fan of medieval small towns, a lot of wineries that they stop at as well. For the adults on the cruise, there's a big, I think the last day they go through an area where Van Gogh was. So they really hit Van Gogh as well. That would be if small medieval cities to the French countryside. That's kind of what you're going to get on that Rhone cruise.
Yes. So then the other major cruise, which we've slightly touched on, or river, is the Rhine. Yeah. I feel like the Rhine is like a good starter river for families as well as adults.
I feel like it had, if you look at the summer cruise, there's a lot of good stuff for kids on there. There's like one where you get to take like a gondola up to the side of the hill. There's some bike riding as well if your family's into bike riding. A lot of there's a mechanical, I've heard so many people talk about this, the mechanical museum that they go to.
Which is like the Small World clock or whatever, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Our river had problems and it was too high and we weren't able to go to that. But that is included. That's in Rudesheim. That is available for the Christmas market cruise as well, as long as your river is not troubled. I will say that sometimes the river is either too high or there's a broken lock. I know the people who did the Danube this year at Christmas had to change ships a couple of times, maybe 3, which is a lot. But typically Disney is going to do whatever they can to have you not change ships.
I kind of followed, you and I are, and there's a Facebook Adventures by Disney group that's just a generic one that if you want to go, and if this intrigues you or you want to do a little bit more deep dive in your Facebook, go and join it, because there's a lot of talk on each one of the different trips and everything like that. And I actually jumped on that one just to see what people are saying. And people are like laughing. They said they did such a good job. Yeah, we had to change 3 times, but Disney did a great time. We had a blast. And so, it's part of the adventure travel sometimes.
And sometimes it is. And that group's called Adventures by Disney Adventurers. And It's a great group. They don't allow you to talk about travel agents, so everybody can just feel welcomed. They're not allowed to ask you to use them. It's just a great informational group.
Yeah. The other good highlight I think about the Rhine too is you can start it's easy to fly into Munich, and then you get over to Wilhelmshaven where it starts. Is it Wilhelmshaven or where is it?
What cruise are we talking about? You went back to the Danube.
Yeah, I went back to the Danube. I'm sorry.
You fly into Basel.
Basel. I'm sorry. You start from Basel. So you get to Switzerland, Germany, France.
Yes.
And then Amsterdam. It ends in Amsterdam, which is an easy city to get into and out of from all over the U.S. Or vice versa. You go the other way around, I guess. So.
No, it doesn't go. It only goes from
Basel
to... Yes. So you have to start in Basel. That's actually pretty easy. That airport is small. It's so funny because they tell you there's a door, and I'm pretty sure you have to go out the French door or the Switzerland. I don't even remember which door, but they tell you because one side is France and one side is Switzerland. And it's go out this door. I don't remember which door it is anymore. You can listen to my podcast and we talk about it, but it's super easy. It's a great city to start and even train to other cities while you're waiting for your adventure to begin if you want. It's a great And I think that's what makes it part of the easy, like starter river cruise, because you can manage it on your own without like tons of research.
Mm-hmm.
So
any other things about the river cruises that we can talk? I mean, we can talk about this all day. I know there's like so many different angles to it.
we could. And we are on a bit of a time crunch because Steve has to go to swim and for his son. And that is okay. And we're in the middle of marathon weekend for Disney World. And it's just, there's a lot going on. But we wanted to just put this out. Hopefully Lake get it up and posted this weekend. But we just wanted to give you a taste in case this was something on your radar. If you are interested in booking a cruise, there are some deals to be had. And so I would have you look into it. So if you've never done an Adventures by Disney cruise before, I believe that your booking day is Tuesday, the 13th. I believe. I don't have this date in front of me today. It's fine.
It's the 13th.
Okay, good. We can look it up. But there are deals to be had if you try. If you have a Disney Visa. So right now, Adventures by Disney, every time they do a release, they give you like so many cabins or so many families per tour. You can get $500 off if you're one of the first people to book. And remember, there's lots of weeks, so you really could be one of the first people to book. But if you have a Disney Visa, you can get another $500 off per person. And they're also combining it with so you can like get both $500 off per person. And they're combining it with or giving out a free either pre or post night, which could be savings of hundreds of dollars as well. And it just makes it easier. And if you use Disney for your pre or your post and you're doing a pre or a post, they will transfer you from the airport. And so it's kind of use it if you can, right? Because then you get your transfers included as well. So I would just say, if you're thinking of booking, reach out to your travel agent. If you're not working with one, I'm happy to help you. But if you're thinking of booking, it's almost always better to book early. But Disney's cancellation policy is not like ocean cruises. Your deposit is never refundable unless you have insurance that then covers it for a reason. And you can only move your deposit one time. And so you really want to make sure you want to go on the adventure, because it's a lot of money and you wouldn't want to lose that money.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. So you get the 14 days, right, Christy? So like if you book it and all of a sudden you have like some kind of second
Buyer's remorse
comes up, buyer's remorse or something like that. You have 14 days to get your deposit back, and after that, then you need to forfeit it.
And I think that's if you don't fill out the adventure agreement. So they're going to send you an adventure agreement. Don't fill that out if you're considering not going.
And I would say that $500 or the post or pre-stay hotel is a great deal, because we've done that twice. Yeah, we've done it twice now, just because it really wasn't, we were in South America and the hotels really weren't that expensive. They can be a lot more expensive in Europe, but it just makes it so much easier, because a lot of times you're going to come in the day before anyways, so you're going to have to stay somewhere. Right. And it's nice to be in that hotel with that ABD is used to working with. They're going to pick you up at the hotel, they're going to take you to the hotel, and the next day they're going to pick you up at the hotel and take you to the ship right there. Or you're going to be at the hotel where the adventure starts too, which just makes it so much easier, not having to pack up your luggage and haul it over to the other side of town or wherever you're staying at. So having that roughly paid for that's a great deal.
It is a great deal. So I love that they're doing it. One more thing that I didn't bring up: if you have previously cruised Disney Cruise Line before, you can actually book on the 12th. The 12th, yeah, that's the right date. So Monday. And if you've had 3 adventures or more, then you can start booking as early as Friday. And I'm not sure when this episode is going up. So maybe it'll go up Friday or Saturday or Sunday. But, we got to work with what we can to get the episode up. But
there is one more good, if you're a DVC member as well, don't forget that you always get open day pricing, because these prices can go up as they fill up. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't matter if you book opening day or if you book 3 months later or something, that you're still going to get that opening price. That doesn't include the $500 off that somebody might get by booking opening day, but it does bring it back to that opening price, which that's a really good deal as well.
huge. And that you can use your travel agent still. They just will either look it up with your MDE, with whatever email you use with Disney, or you can give them your member number. That I feel like that process has changed throughout the years of what they want, but it's super easy. So you don't have to buy it with points, which you should never do. And with DVC, but you still get the benefit of that pricing. And we've done that. I know I've used that benefit. And there's an adventure I might go on in 2027 that I'm like, because the early booking bonus is over, I'm going to just wait and see if we really want to do it because there's space and I can book it later.
Yeah, good point there.
Well,
so
Steve,
go on. There's one other thing before you close out. They did come up with a new escape.
Oh, yeah.
So Disney does offer short escapes. They vary anywhere from 3 days, 2 nights to a little bit longer. They're in Paris, Rome, London, Sydney, Barcelona, and they decided to start one in Munich. And so now they have a 3-day, 2-night escape in Munich, which would be helpful for anybody that's probably going on the Danube cruise, right, Christy?
Yes, and it's
where else you might do it.
What?
I was trying to think of where else you would do it. It'd only be the Danube.
It's only the Danube,
right?
and you can only do the Danube when it starts in Munich. So the Munich escape is only for the starting and not for the end.
Okay.
So
it's an interesting little tour. So you meet up the first day. You have a walking tour. Your hotel is in the Altstadt. If you haven't been there, the Altstadt is the old part of the city. So think about those timbered buildings and everything like that, kind of that quintessential older downtown area in Munich that you're going to see with cobblestone streets and everything like that. It's where the Rat House is, which is kind of the government seat. It's not the actual government seat anymore, but it used to be that where the government was. There's a glockenspiel, so you can watch that. It's a really neat part of town. The Hofbräu House is down there as well. So you get a walking tour, and then you get your welcome dinner out at Forsthaus Einger, which is one of the older breweries in Germany. But I think the beauty of it is the next day, Disneyland Castle was based on Neuschwanstein. And I think that if you don't know what Neuschwanstein is,
it's in Soren,
look
too.
It up. Yeah. Oh, it's in Soren. It's the White Castle in Soren. You're right. Mm-hmm. I forgot about that. So if you've seen that castle in Soren, you're going to get a chance to go and visit Neuschwanstein, which is roughly about an hour and 45 minutes outside of Munich. I looked it up. So you'll get a chance to go out there. It's especially in the summer, there's all kinds of little hiking trails around there. There's a suspension bridge, which scares the bejesus out of me because like
the pilot who's afraid of heights is still the funniest thing in the whole world.
But you get that's where you get that quintessential shot. You'll see it like from Soren, I guess, and from just those shots, you get out on the suspension bridge and it looks back towards Neuschwanstein. So
have you seen it
around there? Neuschwanstein?
Yeah.
Yeah. We visited it there after one of our Greek Isles cruises. Or no, it was after the Mediterranean cruise we went there.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Then you get a local guide, which is going to take you through the castle itself and give you kind of the history. Mad King Ludwig that built it. From there, you're going to go back to Munich. And then day 3, which is kind of your last day, you get up and do a traditional German treat workshop where you're going to work with a Bavarian baker and do some stuff like that. Yeah, and then you're going to go to another brewery for lunch, and then they take you to the ship.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can't, like the ship doesn't even roll up until a certain time. So you can't always, like there's no like 10 a.m. boarding of a ship because the other people are
dropping.
Right, you're not rope dropping. And literally when we went to our ship event, they were just like, here's your luggage, and it's like randomly on the street. It's just, the river cruising is such a different experience. So I love that they've sort of filled the day.
Yeah, so it's a great little add-on for if you want to be there a couple days ahead of time, get to see that iconic castle, Neuschwanstein, which Disneyland Castle was based off of, and learn a little bit of history. You're out in the foothills of the Alps, I guess, there to go out to see Neuschwanstein, which is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's a little bit, Steve and I were talking about this ahead of time. The people who would want to do this want to see the castle, but they don't want to do it on their own and don't want to, they aren't interested in working out the nuance of trying to get there on their own. And that is okay. And they want to do a fun little unique thing because yes, you could schedule your own Bavarian pretzel making. I don't think that's the word you used. We're making something else on that last day, but whatever it is, you could schedule that. But Disney has done it for you. They've done all the work, which is what Adventures by Disney does. They've done all the work, and they've always add a little unique thing that you would never think to add yourself. And so that's what makes it special. So it is not an inexpensive way to do it, especially if you are a family. There's more than 2 of you, but it is a great way to get to see this city and to do these unique things that you might just not want to put the effort forth to doing by yourself.
Exactly. When we did our pub, we did the British short or the London short escape. When we had our dinner at the pub, they had Sherlock Holmes popped up unexpectedly during our dinner, and that was one of the funniest things of that whole trip. Our 3 days together was so you never know what little magical touches they're going to throw in over those 3 days.
And that's the thing is Disney's going to throw in something unexpected that you didn't in your mind envision, and that's what makes it unique and special.
Yeah. I will throw it out there for those that maybe this is out of their price point or they don't want to spend the money on it. You can go to Neuschwanstein fairly easy, but you need to get your tickets ahead of time. It books up. So it's something that you're going to want to get online and buy your tickets ahead of time. You get a time slot, I believe, when you get in there. I believe there's a bus that you could take from Munich out there, but in all honesty, if you're going to spend a couple of days there, you can also rent a car. Driving in Germany, if you're adventurous, it's super easy. Driving in Vienna or Austria and most of Italy and Germany is super easy. So that's an option as well. So it's about an hour and 45 minutes from Munich to get out there. But another option to do it if the short escape is not up your alley.
Yes. All right. I think we've covered it. Did we cover it?
I think so. It makes me want to go on a river cruise, Christy.
Right? Same. Yeah. We talked about it. We were hoping that we could pick the same river, and it just doesn't sound like it's going to work out this time. But go on river cruises, people. They are so special.
And do you remember what episode it was that you had?
I tried to Google it on my phone, but really what I would recommend is going to DCL Podcast and then put in river cruise. Lake did a search feature of a search bar on it, and it will come up. But my river cruise episodes would have been in 2024 at the end of the year, and at the beginning of the next year I did 2. That's not the right year. It's 2023.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah, it's not coming up for some reason either for me. But Google it. It's a great episode, and you'll learn all about what it was like.
Exactly. And reach out to me if you need me to find it, because I can find them for you. And we did a couple of other river cruise episodes, and we've done we've done other highlight episodes so that you can hear more about it as well.
Lots of Adventures by Disney episodes too. So if you just want to learn a little bit more about the product or hear what other people's experiences are on there, definitely Google those as well. So Christy, if somebody wants to book with you, how can they find you?
They can find me all over the internet at Pack Your Pixie Dust. I have a contact me page, which Lake has in the show notes. If it's not in this one, you can just go to packyourpixiedust.com and it'll have an about or contact me page, and you can fill out a form, or you can email or call my office, and we can get you booked right away if you're interested, or at least more information. And Steve, where can people find you?
You can find me over to Instagram at DCL_adventurers. So DCL.
Look at that name.
Like Adventures by Disney. Look at that. It's a little play of words there. So, you can find me over there to just kind of have a little bit of fun, talking about what we're doing and keeping up with what everybody else is doing. So, look for me over there. And I will give a huge shout out to Christy if this is your first time, especially with Adventures by Disney or something like that, there's a couple little nuances there. So, especially the first one, I would highly recommend working with a travel agent on that one.
And there's no additional cost to do it.
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you, Steve, for coming out of retirement again. We love having you on. Love seeing your face.
Yeah,
and
it's good to see you too, Christy.
I'll keep making you come on to talk to me some more.
Well, let's keep doing it. Let's keep traveling together. And I want to wish all the best to everybody out there. Happy New Year. And I look forward to hearing about all your adventures, whether it's on DCL, Adventures by Disney, or wherever you're going out there this year.
I love it. Thank you. Well, that's going to do it for the DCL podcast. Oh, I forgot. I failed at my duties. If you want to follow the podcast, do it at DCL Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. If you'd like to follow Lake, you can find him at MouseGen on Instagram and YouTube. So, and he always has the race videos. Like for this weekend, we're in marathon weekend right now at Walt Disney World. He will actually have all those race videos if you want to see the point of view videos for the different races. So you can check that out. All right. Thank you, everyone.
If you really want to follow Lake this weekend, he's up in the front of the pack, so you will be following him through all of Marathon Week.
We're ending with a little punny too. Steve, I've missed your little quibs.
Goofiness, so, all right. Goodbye,
all right.
Freddie.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
The DCL Podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.